TerrorVision recently released the 1981 slasher movie Srigala on Blu-ray. Now, it's been described as a Friday the 13th ripoff, and after seeing this amazing cover art, I just knew I had to get it. You know who else picked this one up? My buddy Seth from the Hellbound Horror Show. Now, he'll be joining me as we delve into this obscure Friday the 13th ripoff.
Steve, I am so excited to dive into this proclaimed Friday the 13th ripoff with you. I once reviewed a lot of a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoffs on my YouTube channel, so I guess you could say knockoffs of popular slashers is sort of my jam.
So is this movie worth checking out? And does the Friday ripoff aspect help the film or hurt it? Join us as we delve into the crazy world of Srigala. So Seth, what made you interested in buying this one?
First off, I love TerrorVision and all the movies they've been releasing lately. They are one of my favorite distributors at the moment, and when they announced Srigala, I was both intrigued and excited. A 1981 Friday the 13th ripoff from Indonesia that I never knew existed? Sign me up. This is so my cup of tea. But of course, like everyone, I wondered what Srigala was really about and how much Friday the 13th DNA it really had.
Srigala opens with a guy scuba diving in a lake. He finds a little statue and all is good until he's attacked by an unseen killer in a classic POV shot. Wait a minute, is he dancing? We then meet three men arriving at an old cabin in the woods, and the place is a real dump.
Kalian boleh istirahat. Di mana kalian suka?
I think I'd rather sleep in the car. So the guys have arrived at the lake in search of a hidden treasure, and their plans are complicated when three teenagers show up for a weekend getaway. Now the younger guys don't mind too much, but the ringleader of the treasure hunters isn't too happy. He tries to scare the teens off, but it doesn't work. All the while, someone or something watches from a distance. As the search for the treasure continues, our characters eventually come together, and the danger escalates. We get someone dressed as a ninja throwing bombs at the treasure hunters, which eventually leads to a crazy boat chase. Oh, and did I mention the kung fu scene? So Seth, what are your thoughts on all this crazy stuff going on?
I love it. I didn't know what to expect going in, so I tried to just enjoy the ride. And what a ride it is. This movie can be crazy, but even when it's not off the walls bonkers, it's still thoroughly entertaining. I enjoyed the characters, their motivations, location, and behind the scenes stuff like direction and cinematography. It's a well-made film, but oh boy, it can be a hoot at times.
Just when you start to wonder what kind of movie you're watching, the horror elements come back in with a vengeance. A heavy rainstorm engulfs the area, and the characters are stalked and killed off one by one. The direction, mood, and atmosphere is fantastic, and then suddenly, the final 20 minutes turns into the original Friday the 13th. Now, I'm not talking about an homage here, it's a nearly shot-for-shot remake. I don't want to spoil things too much. The motivations do make sense, but it was kind of jarring seeing the movie take such a Friday the 13th turn.
Srigala really does steal a lot of elements from Friday the 13th in its final act, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. You really get the impression of two conflicting ideas and themes. Jarring sums it up perfectly, Steve. On one hand, a modern Western audience will want to see this movie because it rips off Friday the 13th, but the real meat and potatoes of Srigala is the original ideas and concepts. The Friday plagiarism will get people into the door, but the wacky adventures will keep them glued to their seats. It's a tale of two halves. The change of genre and tone is awkward, dissonant, and it's slightly out of place, but it's uniquely charming and authentically its own thing. It really gets me wondering if you can even consider it a Friday the 13th ripoff. Hey Steve, maybe we should determine if Srigala actually rips off Friday the 13th or not on my channel, The Hellbound Horror Show.
That's a fantastic idea. So I'll be joining Seth in his video, the Friday the 13th ripoff you've never seen. I'll post a link below. Check it out and be sure to subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. I will say the movie really had me up until the final 20 minutes. I enjoyed the slow burn nature, and there was some great atmosphere and direction. I'm a sucker for movies that take place in the woods, and this film delivers. We get some nice gore and decent performances, but once it turned into a remake of Friday the 13th, it kinda took me out of the movie. to be honest, the only reason I even got this movie was the Friday rip-off aspect. That's what caught my attention. But after watching it, I wish the movie had done more of its own thing. I don't mind being inspired by Friday the 13th, or ripping off some stuff here and there, but doing a shot-for-shot remake of the climax was just a little too much for me. But even still, it's a truly fascinating movie that's very well done. Now this is yet another excellent release from the fine folks at TerrorVision. The movie includes a brand new 2K restoration of the original uncut camera negative. It looks and sounds fantastic. Keep in mind the film is subtitled. There's no English dub option. For extras, we've got 4 cast and crew interviews, also subtitled. Srigala really is a fascinating movie, and although the final 20 minutes does hurt the film in my opinion, it's still a hell of a lot of fun. And any fan of Friday the 13th, or slasher movies in particular, really need to have this one in their collection. Highly recommended.